Good morning everybody, hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Can you believe this is the third Sunday in a row that I've consistently uploaded? I certainly can't. Don't want to excite anybody, but I already have next week's video ready as well. So don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss that one. On last week's video, which was an old school weekly, I'll link it below for you, I asked you to leave me a question related to family for a Q&A. So here we are in that Q&A, some great questions left. Thank you very much for all of them. I will just get into the meat of the video, as it were. The meat and two veg of the video. Q&A folder, here we go, here's the screen grabs, let's get cracking. These are in no particular order, so there's no rhyme and reason. This is from Mackenzie, and she asks, sorry about the tumble dryer noise if that's being picked up. Was it difficult for Darcy to adjust to having Liam around? Did she find it really easy to get on with him, or was it a bit of a difficult transition? This is such a great question. I grew up in a blended family, and I can tell you that those transitions can be tricky AF. I was so conscious of this when I introduced someone to Darcy, and fortunately or unfortunately for Liam, he also has had experience of divorce in his family as well when he was younger. So we were both quite aware that, you know, we've seen it done badly, and we didn't want to do that. So no, it wasn't a difficult transition, and yes, she did like him, but that's because we were quite careful. We were very slow about it. We also made everything a bit of a non-event. So when she first met him, instead of being like, okay, today is the day, meeting mummy's boyfriend, we're gonna go and have a big day out, here we go, everyone get on, very stressful. It was actually, she was introduced to him just as, this is my friend Liam, tripod, all right, that's annoying me. She was just introduced as, this is Darcy, this is my friend Liam, and it was really casual. It was a sunny evening. She was playing on the trampoline since when I lived in my old house. He rang because he was passing by and he was like, shall I pop in? My auntie Judith was there, which made it feel a lot nicer knowing that there was someone else there. It didn't feel like too intense. It was almost like the amount of people kind of diluted the situation. And I was like, you can come over, but I've got Darcy here and my auntie here. And he was like, oh, okay. So we agreed that we would, and he just came in, had a cup of tea, met Judith, they chatted. She was like, oh, what do you do? Like all that sort of chit chat. Darcy sort of said hello, and that was it. It was a real, like, barely even noticeable experience for her, which is good, because then the next time she met him, it was for something for a bit longer, but really like an hour, and we just did like very small experiences. So nothing for like a whole day. The first time we did a big day trip was all the way in October time, September, October. You know, I actually vlogged it. I'm gonna find the vlog and link it below, because I was in my next video, we've gone back to that same place. It was Stratford-upon-Avon. I had a day out there, lovely. I vlogged it, it's going up next week. But yeah, it was really smooth. Liam was really good about not being too much. He basically just stood back and let her come to him in her own time. He was really good about respecting her time and her space, and really good about respecting her having plenty of one-on-one time with me. And if that meant like that him and I couldn't see each other that day or that night, that was fine, because we were both on the same page about prioritizing Darcy, which I really appreciated, and actually just made me like him even more, because I didn't feel like he was pushing me or was ever resentful that that's a cat flap, that Darcy came first. So yeah, I was really lucky. Next up, we have a question from Heather Weircher, and she says, my daughter is about Pearlie's age. She's just over 3 years old, and I was wondering if you're going to send Pearl to preschool, and did Darcy go to preschool? And the answer is yes and yes. So Pearl already attends a preschool. She started back in spring. Before that, she had a nanny who worked with us 4 days a week. I miss her, I love her. We saw her the other day. She comes and visits sometimes. She moved to the coast, but she comes back. And yeah, we put her in a nursery setting, and it took a little while to settle. People said, oh, it can take up to 3 weeks, but don't worry, it took longer for us. And I think that's because it was such a change from going to having that one-on-one time with her nanny or with me or with Liam, and always being in a home setting, to going into like a busy, bustling nursery school with lots of children, lots of things going on all the time. Whereas at home, her nanny or I or Liam could like really read her, and if she wanted to like chill out for a while, she could go for a nap. But nursery school is like really full on. So it took a while, but we're in a really, really nice routine with it now. So yes, she goes and loves it, and we love it there too. And Darcy also went to a nursery school. She went initially 3 days a week, and then I think I upped it as she got a bit older. She actually started at the nursery when she was 1.5, and I felt so guilty for sending her to nursery. I was starting to work again on all of this stuff. Before that, I'd been in an office, and I had thought that I would go back to work after my maternity ended. But when it came to an end, I thought, actually, if I work really hard at this like weird online stuff, maybe this could bring in the similar sort of income as I would have from going back to being a receptionist part-time. So I put Darcy in nursery so that I could do it, but I never shared online because I always felt like people would judge me, or that I was lazy, or that I wasn't a good mummy, or that I was a part-time mummy. And I thought that because these are the things that I've seen people say before, and it really got to me. But as I've gotten older, I've realised actually we all need to speak up and be like, hey, we are modern women that are working, we're bringing in money for our household. Maybe we're working because we have to for financial reasons, maybe we're working because we want to for fulfillment, or maybe just for both. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you need to use a great childcare setting, then go for it. Don't feel guilty about it. I actually think that my children prefer to be at their nurseries, obviously not Darcy now, but like when she was little, than with me, because they do all sorts of stuff that I don't do. They do like messy play, they've got loads of friends, they're indoors, outdoors all the time with like slides and toys and loads of stuff. So yeah, I think that nursery and preschool is great. Obviously you have to find the right one that suits your child and suits you, but I think it's great. Next question is from Paula Hennell, and she asks, will you be going to Center Parcs this Christmas? And the answer is yes, I can't wait. We booked this about 10 months ago. We went to Center Parcs for Christmas last year, and it was our first time going at Christmas, and it was lovely. It was very snowy. It was actual snowy, but also they have like fake snow everywhere. It felt magical, it was cozy, the children loved it. Darcy actually has described it recently as paradise. I was like, yes, it is a Christmassy paradise. So we're going back. I will vlog it all for you. I'm going to leave the vlogs below of last year because they're some of my favourite vlogs. And if you just want to feel some cozy Christmas feels, because we're coming up to that time of year, they are below. If you do go and watch them now, can you leave a comment saying I'm watching this in 2021, so that I know who's gone over and watched, and I can give you a little comment back or something. This next question is from Sean Cross, and she asks, did you have a preference as to whether you had a boy or a girl? And she goes on to ask if I did any tricks to make sure that I had girls. So I think I'll answer your second question first, and that is, I didn't do any conception tricks or anything like that. Darcy was a planned baby, and when I was pregnant with her, I actually thought she was a boy until I had my scan and found out she was a girl. And I would have been more than happy to have whatever, as long as it was a healthy baby. That's all I cared about. But I have to say, when I found out she was a girl, I was really, really happy. Like, I cried joyful tears. That's not to say if she'd have been a boy, I wouldn't have loved him. And you know, like any mum, I would have loved my baby regardless, but I was thrilled that she was a girl. I think I'm just naturally really girly, and I just love having little girls. I can't imagine, I guess because I don't have boys, I can't imagine being a boy mummy. I just am a girl mummy. And then with Pearl, I certainly didn't try any conception tricks because Pearlie was a surprise baby. So I didn't have the time to be thinking about like, oh, if you do this, if you do that, you'll get a boy, you'll get a girl. She was a beautiful surprise, a bonus baby. And when I was pregnant with her, at the beginning I thought, well, it will be a boy, because I thought I've already had a girl, the odds are it'll be a boy. And I'm just going to be really honest now, judge me if you like, I was really hoping that she would be a girl, just because I'd already had a girl. I knew how to do the girl mum thing. I love the girly life, and then when she was a girl, it was amazing. And that day I found out, there is a video of that, I think, I will link it. Had been a really bad day, so I'd woken up that day bleeding, and I thought that I was having a miscarriage, and we'd had to go into hospital and have a scan. And that moment when you're waiting for them to say whether they can find a heartbeat or not, like, I can't even describe that flood of feelings in that moment. And then obviously, thank God there was. And then it was that day that we had the email through, because I had had a Harmony test to do all the testing for the other stuff and the gender, and we got the email that day. So it was like such a roller coaster day, to start the day bleeding thinking this is the worst ending, to then find out that it wasn't the worst ending, to then find out that the baby was a girl. Like, it was amazing and terrifying. But yeah, so no, I didn't try any specific ways to get girls, but I am really pleased that I have girls. If this was some sort of parallel universe, maybe there's another Louise sat there saying, I'm so glad I have boys, I can't imagine having girls. But I hope that answers the question. Lara Emily asks, what is your favourite part about having a larger than average gap between your lovely kids? Thank you, Lara, for calling them lovely. That's nice of you. I really like having a huge gap. So to me, this actually doesn't feel huge. So between Darcy and Pearl, there's 6 years. But between me and my sister, there's 11 years. So I grew up in a household where there's a big gap. So it felt probably a bit more normal to me. But I like it more now. When Pearl was first born, it was actually really difficult, because it didn't feel, oh, sorry about the tumble dryer, it's so loud. It didn't feel like I've got 2 kids that were this, I can't, let me say the sentence and then you see if you can work out what I mean. It didn't feel like I had 2 kids, it felt like I had 2 kids. Like, you know, people that have maybe a 1 and a 3-year-old. It's like, well, you're putting 2 kids in a car seat, you're making similar food and chopping it up. They're both watching Peppa Pig. They both want to go to soft play and play in the toddler zone, the under 5s area. Like, you're in that stage. But I had a newborn and a 6-year-old, so they didn't do anything the same, because they just don't at those ages. But now that Pearl is nearly 4 and Darcy's 10, although obviously Darcy is a lot further down the line in her development and maturity, they will play together, they will actually interact, and they will do some things together. Like, we can go on a family day out. Let's say we went to a Christmas lights display, they would both enjoy that, and that makes it a lot easier. And it's nice now because Darcy kind of looks after Pearl. She sort of looks out for her. In the mornings, if she's pouring herself some cereal, she'll pour Pearl some cereal. Pearl does, I'm confused. Pearl does a little dance class at the dance school that both of them go to, and Darcy will go and help out in that class, which is really nice. So I love that for them. For me, I really like it because I feel like I got to really enjoy all of Darcy's babyhood, little fly, babyhood and toddlerhood and early childhood, and I didn't have to divide my attention at all. So I got to enjoy all of that, and then just when I was yearning for those baby days again, another baby, and I get to do it all again and really enjoy just focusing on Pearl's babyhood and toddlerhood. So I've really enjoyed it. This is just a small thing, but every day I'm like, well done womb for spreading those babies out. You did a great job there. Just as Darcy will be leaving her primary school, Pearl will be starting the primary school, and I'm thrilled because part of me was like, no, I was filled with dread that Darcy would be leaving, because I love that primary school. I love going there. I love being involved in all of their, like, when parents can go and help out. I love all the staff there, and I was like, oh no, it's coming to an end. But now I'm like, no, it's not. I get around to here. So that's, you know, if you're thinking about having a big age gap, I'm an advocate. Georgia Anderson asks, how do you feel about fans approaching you on family holidays? I'm also booked to go to Disney in February, and if I saw you, I'd love to say hello, but I'm very aware you're on holiday and would not want to disturb you. Thank you, Georgia. That's so lovely of you to ask that. It's very courteous of you, which I appreciate. I don't actually mind people coming up to me when I'm on holiday or when I'm out and about. I'll tell you what I don't mind, and then what I really do mind, and it's up to everybody if they want to follow it or not, because you can't control other people, you can only control your own reactions. I don't mind at all if someone comes up and is like, hey, I watch your videos, or hey, I follow you online, just wanted to say hi. That's so good for me because I instantly know who you are. A lot of times what happens is people will spot us and then perhaps they'll feel a bit nervous or a bit anxious or not know what to do, and they'll hover around for a really long time. Like they'll follow us or just stand and watch, or like try and take little photos on their phones, and then they'll come over. But by that time I've gotten really stressed out because I'm taking pictures of my kids. It's just like you're being watched. It feels weird, like you're like an animal in a zoo. It's very strange. I can't really, unless you've experienced it, I worry that I just sound like a bellend trying to describe this to you. But then they'll come over, and by then, like, it's a weird vibe, I find. So definitely, please don't take pictures from afar, because then I gets my back up thinking, are you taking pictures of my children? But it's very rare that I'll say no to a photo out and about. I think the few times I have are when I've been ill, when I was pregnant with Pearl and I'd literally just come out of a bathroom after being sick, or if I've been crying are the only times that I've been like, no, sorry, I don't think I will. But otherwise, like, just come over, just introduce, just say how you know me, because otherwise another thing I do in my mind is I'm like, they're being, because you guys are always so friendly to me because we have this like friendly relationship, which is lovely. But I'm thinking, are you someone I know? And I'm like racking my brains, like, did we go to school together? Have we worked together? Have I, like, do I know you from, like, through a friend? Or trying to work out who it is. So do me a favor and just say, I know you from the internet. And I'll be like, hi, nice to meet you. What's your name? Tell me what you're doing here, and we'll have a nice chat. And if you want a photo. If you don't, no worries. I don't force people to have a photo with me. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. But if you see me in Disney, do come on over and just say hello, because I love meeting you. And I always find that everyone is always so nice, and it's just nice to have a human interaction, because for me, you're just this camera and like words on a screen. So it's really nice for me to see like a 3D humanoid. It's lovely. I have so many questions and I'm taking so long to answer these. I'm wondering if I should do a part 2 of this video maybe. Liz Evans asks, what is the best piece of advice you have ever been given? Do you know, I'm so fortunate. I have a lot of people in my life that give really good advice, like they give really good counsel when I need it. But I think two good pieces of advice actually, and they're both like little sayings that I try and remind myself of. The first one is from my dad, and it's, if you play your cards all night, you come out about even. And my dad told me this one night when I was about 15 or 16 years old, and the abuse from the woman in my life had just come to an end. She had just left our life, and I was sat sobbing to my dad, like finally sharing all the things that she had done to me, and how, like, back then I couldn't articulate it because I was so young, but really how broken I was and how downtrodden I felt, and like how wronged I had been. I was saying it's so unfair. Like, I really, now I've got such a better outlook on it, but at the time I was like, I feel like, you know, when I was 5, I was saying mum got ill when I was 5, and now for the last 10 years, like 2/3 of my life had just been like death and grief and abuse and all this just awful stuff. And my dad said something that stuck with me. I almost feel emotional like talking about it. My dad said something that stuck with me, which was, if you play your cards all night, you come out about even. And what that means is, his theory is, and mine now actually, is that most people in their life will have some shitty bits. And it might be that you have a little bit here, then you get 5 years down the line, another little dump of hard stuff, and then a bit further down something bad will happen. He said, maybe you have had the lion's share of your shitty bits right now, and from now on your life is going to get better and you're going to have a lovely life. And lo and behold, it was right. Like, all that came to an end. I went to university, I met Darcy's dad, I know obviously we're divorced now, but like we had a great time for many years, and then was fortunate enough to meet Liam, 2 beautiful children, this job. Like, what even? Like, could you get more lucky than doing a job that you love? That this didn't even start as a job, this just started as the thing I did for fun on the side of my actual job, and now I live this life that is better than I could have ever imagined as my best life, all because if you play your cards all night, you come out about even. So I often think that, like, when I'm having a bad day, I think if you play your cards all night, perhaps it's just a bad day, in a good week, things will get better. It's a really, like, hopeful piece of advice. I've moved now, like, there we go. It's a really hopeful piece of advice, so I'm very grateful for that. And the other piece of advice, also from my dad actually, is to always go the extra mile. And when he used to tell me that when I was younger and I was doing homework and stuff, I used to hate it because I was a bare minimum kind of a gal with my schoolwork, and I got the bare minimum results because of it. And now I love that piece of advice, and whenever I'm doing something, I'm like, what can I do to make this better? How can I go the extra mile? What more can I give to this? And then you reap what you sow, you see the rewards from it. So yeah, those 2 pieces of advice are the best things. Are they advice, or are they little, like, pearls of wisdom, little phrases? I don't know, but hopefully that's been of help to someone out there. Okay, just for the sake of not making this the longest video in the world and boring you to death with the sound of my own voice, I'm going to leave it here. But if you would like more of the family Q&A, let me know and I'll do a round 2. Also, what I would love in the comments below today is I would love some questions regarding Christmas. So I'd love to do a Christmas Q&A. So if you have a Christmassy question, leave it below for me. Next week we have a family vlog of a day out we had. I'm going to get that edited and get that up for you. But then after that, I would love to get stuck into some Christmas content, because let's face it, it is the most wonderful time of the year, and I would love to share some stuff about Christmas traditions or Christmas gifts, or anything you want to know about Christmas from me. Let me know and I will answer. Leave that below. Give this video a like if you liked it. Just something a bit cash today, and I will see you next week at 9 AM, same place, same time. Love you lots. Bye.